Hi there, and welcome to Dork Wars, the podcast, your galactic hub for all things Star Wars. My name's Blake, and I'm here with two of the best hosts in the galaxy. First up, the funny one, Wesley.
What's up, Dorks?
And next, our very own Jedi Archive, which we really need tonight, Dietrich.
What's up, Dorks?
Hey, wait a minute.
I'm copying you. It's the highest form of flattery.
I never even listen to what you guys say after I introduce you, so whatever.
So Blake is a stupid doo-doo head, is my intro now.
All right, that will be stricken from the record. Probably not. We almost let everything into the show. Actually, that's also a lie.
I'm feeling censored.
Technically, you kind of are. But let's go on and get into the topic tonight. We really don't even have any news, because the big news that we would be talking about is literally our main topic.
No news is good news. It's
the main
topic.
Maybe not. There's some pretty mad people about this. Let's talk about the Acolyte cancellation and the future of Star Wars.
We need to talk.
No talk needed. Listen, you will.
Listen?
Yes, fired you are.
What?
Cancelled, kicked out, dismissed, let go, given the axe.
What are you saying?
The brute you get, laid off, forced to resign, retired you are.
No way.
Sacked even.
You cannot be serious.
So here's the thing, guys. The Acolyte has been canceled. No season 2.
Bruh.
But yeah, there's a lot of people who are unhappy with this decision. There are a ton of people who are happy with this decision. I feel like the fan base is kind of split here. But I do want to ask you guys how you're feeling about it. If you've been listening to our show, we have been covering The Acolyte since it first came out. We've done every episode, a review of every episode, rather. So if you've been listening, you probably know our thoughts about it. But Wesley, what is your reaction to the cancellation of the Acolyte?
You know, it reminds me of high school when I was in 10th grade and I dated this girl for 6 months. And then it's exactly 6 months, actually, because on our 6-month anniversary, out of the blue, she just dumped me, right? So I'm all like surprised, caught off guard, and did not see it coming. That's kind of... So there's some elements of that apply to the Acolyte being canceled, because I did not see it coming. It surprised me. And the one thing that my high school girlfriend said was, well, I told her, why are you doing this on our anniversary? And then she said, well, you won't do it the day before or the day after. I was like, you bitch. No. Anyway, so the timing of Acolyte being canceled surprised me, because it was just so soon to like the finale being released a couple weeks ago or whatever, however long it's been. So I'm just surprised the timing of it.
So I will say, though, as far as the timing, Disney technically hasn't said anything, but we have multiple sources reporting this. So I mean, I'm pretty sure it's true. You know, I'm taking it as truth right now. I guess we could play the rumor has it right now if we want to, but I don't think it's a rumor. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's canceled.
They could be just trying to see how everybody responds and go from there.
Yeah, they play tricky stuff like that, man. They really, really do. Dietrich, I know that you had a fondness for the series. Definitely in the earlier episodes. How do you feel about the Acolyte being canceled?
I actually feel like if you go back and look at my overall scores, I'm one of the lower ranking of the group overall.
Oh, for the season, I think the season was generally good. You know, so I'll. Is it my favorite Star Wars show? No, but you know, I enjoyed most of it. So I'll put it at 6.5.
A few moments later.
So I think for the series, I'll give it an 7.9.
Later that same evening.
I'm going to go with a solid 6 for the episode, and I think for the series, I'm going to go with 7.
Several bad puns later.
I'm going to give a 7. I'm with Dietrich. Right, at the end. I'm talking about, but we had me and you especially had some really high praises for some of those earlier episodes, and especially like episode 5.
That was your 10.
Yeah, I mean, I would still say it is. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think regardless of whether you like the Acolyte or not, you can go back and watch that one episode and leave with a smile on your face.
Mm-hmm.
I got a massage parlor like that.
Yeah, I mean, you can pay extra for more Sith, I guess. I don't know, something like that. But I guess I'm not devastated by it, but I'm kind of disappointed that the first foray into not having stormtroopers would be a failure, and not going to Tatooine. You know,
Dude, Tatooine is attached to fail success rate. Actually, it's not. I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, man, I don't know. As far as Acolyte being canceled, I am a little torn because I did enjoy the show. Overall, I didn't.
I think I left that last episode wanting more, but being a little disappointed with what we got.
Yes, and like I said, me and you are kind of in the same vein on this show, which is cool. It's nice. I mean, I think me and you line up a lot, you know. But especially on this, because I did like Kamir as a character. Fantastic character. I loved Jedi Master Soul. He was cool. I wasn't so much impressed with Osher and May. I honestly did not care about their story, other than wanting to know how they were made. But I did want more Kamir. I did want more of that dark side story. I did want, like, the shadowy Plagueis. What's he got to do with? I want to know what he has to do with this, because the next season would probably show us kind of what he was doing around that time, his plan for the pre-Phantom Menace era of Star Wars. So I think it had good bones, man. I think it had solid bones, but some of the execution was just not good. Just not good. I think the writing wasn't the best, but it's Star Wars. I can let that slide. The pacing was not great for me either. I think it was just oddly paced, even when you watch all the episodes, because I've gone back since and watched them all, and it's super, super weird. It gets so fast. Like, it goes fast. It goes hard. It's pow, 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 and then it just dies. And then it just ramps up, and then it just, there's no in between. You're going 0 or you're going 100.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know, not surprised, but like, if a show gets canceled right after one season and you're expecting there to be more seasons, like, does this material even count anymore? You know what I mean? Like, in the whole grand scheme of lore?
That is the question that Disney has to answer. And I've had the same thoughts, Wesley. I've had the same thoughts.
Well, okay, hold on now. Anything that's live action is automatically put. It's always the movies. That's absolute canon. Whatever is in a released movie. And then the TV shows that are live action. Then the TV shows that are animated. Then the licensed books. Then the comics.
Well, I will say this. Disney has gone and retconned their comics before. I don't think they're above retconning or saying, hey, we tried this, it didn't work, it's no longer canon. I think they would do that. If I don't know. Maybe they'll keep it, or maybe they'll just ignore it and never reference it again. That way it doesn't even matter, you know. But at this time period, it's gonna have to come up, you know. Like, it was too big of a reveal, too big of a thing to just leave open and leave out there.
I mean, they could go back and lick their wounds and wait 5 years. All the characters that survived are young enough to be shown again. I mean, nobody's like an elderly actor who, you know,
Correct.
may have limited time on Earth.
Except Yoda. I mean, he's only got another 150 years left.
It's very highbrow for me.
But I have seen some reports, even before I saw those, not reports, or theories out there, and I even theorized this myself, that Disney could take Acolyte Season 1 and archive it for tax reasons. They did this with the Willow show, and it had a lot of the same reception. Was not received very well, did not get very many views. I think this shows a little bit more in the forefront because it is Star Wars. Willow had more of a niche fan base. But I could see Disney just archiving the footage. And if you archive the footage, take it off of Disney Plus and file it for like a tax write-off or return or whatever it would be tax-wise, because there is something to that.
That would be the wrong move. That would be a bad move.
Yeah, but then does it stay canon? You know, I just don't know. I don't think you can take it off and no one can access it anymore and still call it canon. That would kind of suck. Future generations would never see the start of a story that was continued elsewhere if you do that. I'm kind of torn on that as well. Do we wish this had never happened to begin with at this point?
I have no regrets about it. I mean, I don't have a high stake in it, but
Right. Yeah, 'cause Wesley, I know you were one that didn't really care for the series at all. I thought you'd be actually happy. I thought you'd be happy that the Acolyte was canceled.
I mean, on a humanitarian level, like I appreciate like the work all the actors went through to do this for us, and could things have been better? Sure, but I thought they gave it. I thought it was a good show, and
gave it the old college try, huh? Or the old Imperial Academy try.
Yeah.
Right?
And a season 2, they could have actually taken lessons learned and applied them to a season 2, and
yes,
like.
Well, if you look back at certain projects, the Clone Wars season 1, had it premiered on Disney Plus in 2024, would it have gotten a season 2? I don't know. Would Rebels season 1 having been released on Disney Plus in 2024, would that have continued? Because the first season of both of those shows are not very good.
Yeah, I think the modern audience would have absolutely hated Rebels season 1.
Yeah.
The modern Star Wars audience would have absolutely torn it apart.
And there is a sect of Star Wars fans out there, if you want to call them that quote unquote people say hate watch. They call them grifters. I don't remember exactly what that means.
grifters.
Yeah, that's like the name for these people.
Mm-hmm.
These big Star Wars accounts or entertainment accounts that watch Star Wars just to make content about hating it. That's what they call these people. And there are certainly some people out there like that. I believe that 100%. That's not Dork Wars the podcast. We don't do that. Usually every one of us have a different take on the show. Some like it, some love it, some hate it, some dislike it a little bit. So we're always we got all the perspectives most of the time. Sometimes not. Sometimes we all agree on some stuff.
I think we're very fair, honest and fair, genuine people.
Right. We tell it how we really feel about it, but we respect the other opinion. Like I respect those who thought this was a grand slam out of the park, loved this show. With what we got, I don't know, man. I would have loved to seen where Kamir ends up specifically. I really didn't care about Vernestra Rowe. I don't want to see what happens with that. Even the relations between the Jedi and the Senate now. Like, we have that added. I think it could have worked. It could have been cool. I don't know. That Vernestra Rowe character just did not click with me at all.
Yeah, she was one of the weaker actresses.
Yeah.
I think some of the High Republic books, I think they're doing a fantastic job. And I've said this on other podcasts, but I still think if you want to capture some data or capture a story from this era, the High Republic era, then go follow the books. Bring those to the screen. I think that would be a good.
So you're saying take actual stories from the High Republic novels and comics and adapt those stories for live action.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think it would work in like an animation sort of way.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a cool animated show. But of course, Vernestra Rowe is a character in the High Republic. She is so different though than her High Republic counterpart. I don't know how much of our audience reads the High Republic, and I've even heard that the High Republic series is kind of down in people buying the books and consuming the media. I don't know how true that is. I haven't fact checked it. I haven't looked more into it. But I know that reading the Star Wars novels is always, it tends to be for the harder Star Wars audience, right? The ones that want to go between the numbers and really just get all the Star Wars they can. I'm one of those. I love Star Wars novels. I've read them since I was, probably in middle school. I did. My middle school had the whole Star Wars series with Trioculus. You remember those? Diedrich probably knows what I'm talking about.
Actually, no, I don't know what you're talking about with that.
Really? And Ken Kenobi?
Oh, Obi-Wan's brother. Okay, I vaguely know.
It's
what
not
you're
his brother.
referencing.
It's like his son. I can't remember if it's actually his son or if it was like a misdirect. But he said he was Ken Kenobi. It was like
Ken
his kid.
Kenobi.
Yeah.
So there's Ben
Seriously.
and then come on.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying it was great, but and they find they go to find Luke Skywalker's hand and all that stuff. It was pretty cool.
Some of the old EU is crazy. All right. I'm just
Oh
gonna
yeah,
say
it's
that.
those books are out there. They had to go in one of them. I remember they had to go to Mount Yoda. So
Mount Yoda.
Seriously, that is not a joke. Mount Yoda.
It's like a little bunny hill or something.
Modi was.
I got Blake.
I never thought about that before. This is the smallest mountain on the planet. You should call it Mount Yoda. Any way you slice it, I do think the High Republic books have a good, solid story going. I'm not 100% caught up. But yeah, I think adapting those would have been great for like an animated series or maybe like shorts or something that you put to string together. I don't know. But something obviously just did not connect with the Acolyte. So bringing the High Republic era and bringing it forward and getting so close to Phantom Menace, there's inherently interest in this timeline. There's in this setting, this time setting. It's a hotbed for good stories. And I don't want the cancellation of this show to have negative consequences on us getting shows in this era.
Right, I agree. This was like, as far as like a live action, this is like the pioneer of this era,
Yeah.
and just the negative feedback it received and everything that's unfolded. I hope it doesn't have lasting damage.
Emotional damage
On
Yeah.
future work.
So the same day that this news came out, it was actually earlier in the day. And I don't know how true the statement was by Tamora Morrison, but he was at Chicago Fan Expo and stated that he was not returning as Boba Fett in The Mandalorian and Grogu. So like he's not going to be in that movie. Kind of insinuating that there might not be any more Boba Fett stuff.
Ooh.
They're playing this all so weirdly now,
It is. It's strange and almost feels like a misdirect in a way.
It almost feels like with the sequel trilogy, they start something, they rip it into a complete different direction, then they're gonna rip it right back into another direction, and the continuity for the last 10 years is just gonna be absolutely screwed.
Yeah, and that's what's going to kill Star Wars, man. If you just can't get your stuff straight, you get projects that are greenlighted and they have a season and they get canceled and you don't finish the story. That's the big thing for, I know, all of us. They resolved nothing in that finale. Zero. We don't know who Khmer is. We don't know how May and Osho were created. We don't know the history between Vernestra and Khmer. We don't know the history between Sol and Khmer. He obviously knows Sol. Plagueis is in the background lurking around. We don't know what's going to happen with that now. There's so much left open, like too much. Had they resolved the show, I think fans would have gone back and watched. Even those that did not watch it the first time because they listened to these Star Wars channels blasting it all the time, or if that even happened. I don't know. I'm not trying to comment on that. I'm not going to say that there were a billion fans out there who didn't watch The Acolyte just because people said it sucked and it was woke and whatever. but I think if they would have at least resolved a lot of things in the season, and if you didn't know you were getting a second season, why leave it so open? That is another big issue, because if this remains canon, what do you do with the story?
Yeah, they're just out there. They're just out there doing stuff, and
because I'm going to tell you, man, Kamir could wreak some havoc.
And if this is all we get from it, like, I'm not sure. I have to go back and process this, but like, what do we as fans take away from this one season? So what do we get out of this?
Nothing. I mean, that's the thing. We get nothing unless you continue the stories in books and comics. Which, let's face it, there is a sect of the fandom that does not do that. They watch Disney Plus shows and they watch the movies. That's it. Do you say, hey man, you got to be more invested and go buy these books and comic books and get? I think that's a different level of fandom, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm okay with having the fans that just stick to the Disney Plus shows and the movies. And usually, if you want to dig more into some things, yeah, you go into the comics and you go into the books and the video games, but that's not like a requirement. You know, you don't get your biggest story beats from those material. So would you guys like to see this continued in other mediums, or just say screw it, don't even go forward?
I don't think it would be a good video game. Maybe a comic. But I mean, honestly, I don't even know. If they're not going to make a season 2 in live action after all this work and all this like prep, they even made the whole timeline with the comics and the current expanded universe that they're doing. To just go ahead and drop this like a fat sack of bricks is just damn, like, what the hell are y'all even doing?
Yeah, it's coming off as sloppy.
Yeah.
It's like there's no oversight. Dave Filoni is the head guy in charge of creating stories and managing stories, I guess, right? He's like the canon director, I guess. He decides what gets made and how it's made and how it ties into the Star Wars story. That's what I've been led to believe. So, is he just not doing a good job? I don't know, but I do know we do have the Skeleton Key coming up, or Skeleton Key. I always call it that. The Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew is coming up,
which is already getting like controversy and people hating on it without even. Yeah,
really.
From what I can see online, people are especially about the. There's that scene in the trailer where you kind of look. It looks like a space version of Suburbia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
And people hate that, and I don't know if I just want to see it first before I make a judgment.
Yeah, I don't know if I hate it. It is kind of a weird look for Star Wars, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it for now. I haven't seen the media. I mean, you know, I'm not going to get mad at a trailer. Unless the trailer comes out and is like, Luke Skywalker never existed. That was an alternate universe. There's not even an original trilogy. Okay, maybe I'd get a little mad then. But just seeing, you know, Star Wars, my hometown, is not gonna. It's not telling me, like, you know, it's not turning me off to the show. I actually think it looks like a good show, but I don't know how that's going to tie into the Mandoverse. I don't think anyone does. Will it? I think it looks like a good one-off show. I would like to see this be a very fun one-season adventure or a self-contained, even if it's multiple seasons, adventure that doesn't even tie into the rest of it. It looks just like a fun 80s movie, right? Like a Goonies in space.
Yeah, I agree. Not everything has to tie back to the Jedi or the Republic or even the Skywalkers.
Yeah, and I think we need some of those slice of life kind of pieces in Star Wars that we do not get. Some of those projects in earlier years being like the Ewok movies. they were
Caravan of Courage.
Caravan of Courage, yeah. There was how many of those were there?
There's 2.
2? I can't remember.
But there was also an animated series called Ewoks.
Correct. But those are Star Wars stories not connected to anything. Obviously, they were made for kids and not really. Star Wars was not at the level of storytelling and connectivity that it is today, back in the 80s when that was created. But that's about it. I can't think of any other Star Wars movies or media that's just unconnected from the Skywalker saga or what's happening in the movies. Other than maybe like the Old Republic video games and stuff like. I mean, you get video games, but that's about it. So I think a nice slice of life thing is what we need. Maybe it'll reinvigorate the Star Wars community just to be excited about something Star Wars. We have that, and then Andor Season 2 is coming up as well.
Yes, sir.
And I'm excited, man. I
Me
know
too.
our friend that rhymes with R Wars Erie thinks that people drink their wine, eat their cheese, and snob around about how great the Andor is. But I love Andor, man. I thought it was a great first season. And yes, it is directly tying into the Rebellion, the Skywalker saga, the original trilogy, moving all the way up into Rogue One, apparently. And will make us view Rogue One differently from what has been said by the showrunners, that we will no longer view Rogue One the same way again, which I'm a little worried about.
Oh, really?
Honestly.
Is that what they said?
That is a quote. Yes, that is a quote. A direct quote.
I guess it makes sense because if you're tying some of these actors, these roles that tie into Rogue One, we're going to perceive it differently when we watch it again. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. I hope it, but it's like a total, like we're going to totally rethink, totally look at it different. I don't know. I'm scared of the way it was said, I guess. Because I love Rogue One. I don't just like it. I love Rogue One. It's a great movie. So I don't think we should tamper with that too much. Don't tamper with that too much. That's one thing that a lot of the fandom agrees on. So especially, and it's Disney Star Wars. So Disney Star Wars fans agree.
Leave it alone.
Leave it alone. That's a rock we're all kind of hanging on to. Now we're gonna blow the rock up with a Death Star.
You may fire when ready.
So I think we have some hope for the future. Ahsoka is going to get a season 2. I think that's official. I might have to go back and fact check. So we'll say 50% on that. So there is, and we're definitely getting Mandalorian and Grogu. We're getting the Dawn of the Jedi movie. We're getting the Rey movie. So there is more Star Wars coming out, but canceling projects so early in development is never a good thing. So hopefully the Star Wars community can bounce back from this. So do you guys think that there's a renew the Acolyte movement going around like X, and I think a little bit on Facebook, where the hashtag renew the Acolyte, and people are trying to get them to rethink this. Do you guys think that'll sway Disney at all?
Ooh.
I like that sound effect. That yeah. That's about how I feel about it.
Okay, so is the reason they're not renewing the season, you think, because of all the negative feedback from all the loud negative groups out there?
Wesley, I honestly think that Disney, Lucasfilm, they look at the numbers. How many people watched it? How many new subscribers are there to Disney Plus during the run of this show? How many hours was it viewed? How many separate accounts viewed it? Those, and I don't know what other metrics they use, but those are the metrics that go into, was this show popular enough to be renewed? Did this show make us money? That's what Disney's about. Disney does not care about your political views. Disney does not care about your wokeness. Disney does not care if you are gay, straight, all the other letters. They don't care.
Thank God.
Well, I mean, it's true though. They don't. They do not care about any of that stuff. They only care about the money. So if you align on the side that says that Disney is all woke now, and they've been doing this forever. They've been doing this, not forever, but they've been doing this with the last couple of projects, or the last couple of years of projects, where they're inserting all this agenda stuff, blah, 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 blah. You're happy that the Acolyte has been canceled, and they've not listened to you up till now. That's how you feel, right? Quote unquote. This is all, hyperbole. And And if you're on the other side of the fence, who's like, Disney needs more inclusion and Disney needs more this, and this. Well, you're saying that the Acolyte is a culmination of that. It is the best version of Star Wars for inclusion of race and gender and all that other stuff. Guess what? Disney has disappointed both of those groups, and they have catered to both of those groups in the past to make money. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Disney is not woke. Disney is not conservative. Disney is not liberal. Disney's not any of that. Disney is in it for the money. They don't care about any of that stuff.
It does make me curious because, I mean, it's none of my business, but I would like them to be a little more transparent about the financial side of these things, or what financial impact has this show had on Disney's margins, positive or negative. Because then that would make more sense to the fans. Like, oh, okay, it wasn't, it wasn't.
I didn't think about that. Maybe one of the metrics is how many people unsubscribed from Disney Plus when we were airing this show. I mean, that's true, though. I mean, that's true. That could be another metric that they look at. How many people actively left the service? And you can only say it's because of new stuff they put on there. Of course, there's some people who just cancel it because, oh, we don't watch everything on there. We don't do this. But if you have a mass number of people, and I've seen people on social media say, I'm canceling my Disney Plus account because the Acolyte is horrible. And it's this. So if enough people did that, that might be a reason to get rid of it and archive it and make a little money on the tax end of it. So
I'm sorry, but that seems like, if someone's going to get Disney Plus just to watch the Acolyte, that seems like a wrong motive to begin with. But I digress.
Hey man, it's all about the money. Mickey Mouse got to pay them bills, baby. Mickey Mouse got to pay them bills. I'm about to help him out though. So.
That's right.
I'm about to help him out. Grant's helping him out right now.
I know.
Did you see Grant had some poo Crocs on?
I saw the picture you shared. So that was Grant's feet.
Yeah, Grant's got some Winnie the Pooh Crocs on. So everyone out there listening to Dork Wars, go to our social medias and make fun of Grant. I'm gonna post it later. I'm posting Grant's feet and Pooh Crocs. So I hope you guys go online and enjoy that.
Oh boy.
I told him, I said, Grant, you got poo on your foot. I need to go wash that off.
I need to know what choices were available to him and why was Pooh the best one?
Why was Pooh the best one? It's either Pooh or Piglet or Minnie Mouse, man. That was it. That's all they had in store. Love Grant though. Love Grant. We'll hopefully have him back on the pod next week.
Yeah, miss that guy.
Miss that guy. Me too. I miss Grant. He's so elusive. But kind of wrapping up here, did Disney make the right choice canceling the Acolyte? What do you think, Wesley? Was it the right choice?
I mean, it's two ways to answer the question. Again, like if financially it was hurting them, then absolutely, you got to look out for the business of the company and make some tough decisions. But if it's just like a reaction to the negative feedback from the loud people on social media, then I think that's kind of weak. If that's the case, or whatever it may be, I wish we had a little more transparency of why they canceled.
Yeah. Well, they've technically not announced that they've canceled it.
Correct.
Yeah, we've just got some really compelling reports from Deadline was the first one to report it. Variety has multiple news outlets.
But as far as like content wise, I wish we would get to see it through and kind of get closure on a lot of open ends.
Yeah. It's out there. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's out there now. That storyline is out there. Disney can decanonize it or continue the story in other media. That's the only two options they have for this story. Canceling it, in the long run, I think it may have hurt them a little bit. Maybe not much, because there's a lot of negativity about this show. But I do think that the story had good bones, man. The structure of the story was good. Like, not the structure, but the kind of the base of it. You got strong characters in well, I don't even know if it's the base. You have some strong characters, like Kamir. Kamir is so compelling. very compelling. And it might be the mystery around him. I don't know. But I like Khmer a ton. Master Soul, who's dead now, so he can't even continue his story anyway. But other than those two, what you're left with is Vernestra, who I don't give two craps about, and Man Osha, who I really don't care about either. And I want to know how they were made. I just want to know how they were created, because that kind of affects the Anakin storyline just a little bit. You know, we've seen where showrunners have said that Anakin is still Anakin, like he's still like the chosen one, right? That's still his beat. And that these twins were created differently, I guess, to a point. But how differently? Like how, they discuss a vergence with the twins, saying there was a vergence and these twins kind of happened because of it. And then in the movies, they say that Anakin himself is the vergence. So there's some wording in there that's kind of will they, won't they make these characters as grand as Anakin or whatever. Anyways, I think that's an answer we needed. If this is going to stay canon, we need that. So I think it hurts them in the long run. The financials, who knows? I think if you give Clone Wars Season 1 or Rebels Season 1 a chance on Disney Plus in 2024, like they were never created back when they were created in like 2008 and then 2012. I can't remember the exact dates. Don't bang me on that, guys. But
we're gonna bang you.
If you're gonna premiere those shows just as they were on Disney Plus this year, they probably wouldn't get a season 2 either. That's all I'm saying. Because there was a huge outcry about Ahsoka. Everyone hated Ahsoka, the character, in Clone Wars Season 1. No one liked her. I mean, maybe there was a few people.
Hey, Sky Guy.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, and she was really campy. She was generic, annoying. Like, she was annoying. She was kind of whiny. But then she grew into the most compelling character in the Clone Wars. By the time you get to where she leaves the Jedi Order, which is originally where the show ends, you're like, oh my God, Ahsoka's leaving the Order? Like, she's rejecting the Jedi. And then you're kind of like, oh, great. Guess what? She might have survived. And, of course, that's Dave's baby.
Yeah.
She survives. And then you get to Season 7, and that even makes her a even better character. I guess before we get there, she was in Rebels. And she's a great character in Rebels as well. She's not as involved in the story in Rebels as she is in Clone Wars, obviously. But Season 7 Ahsoka, she's amazing. Tales of the Jedi Ahsoka is amazing. Ahsoka from the Ahsoka series, and we can talk about that later. You guys know how I feel about that. She's okay. But you give that same show the same chance that the Acolyte got. I know it's animated, but it's not going to pull numbers. It's just not. It was not great. And that show became one of the best Star Wars material ever. Gave us Cad Bane.
Mm-hmm.
We got our first actual canon looks at gosh, what's the guy's name? I can't think of it. It's Asajj Ventress's boyfriend in the book. I can see his face. Quinlan Voss.
Oh yeah.
I guess he showed up in episode 1, Star Wars episode 1. He's like a fleeting character, but we got into his story a little bit. We know about Quinlan Voss, he was even in Legends and stuff. So we get our looks at some great characters, some great character development, some awesome stuff. But it never would have happened had they canceled it after season 1, like they did the Acolyte. So, guys, we're going to end this here and turn it over to Master Yoda for the word of the week.
There is more knowledge here than anywhere else in the galaxy.
Mount Yoda, the word of the week is. Oh, you didn't go with cancellation, outrage, despair? Joy, glee, woke, nothing like that? No. A lot of those feelings I had. Mount Yoda. A great mountain it was. a hater Wesley is.
I'm sorry.
Mount Wesley, the stupidest mountain it is. Your apology I accept. Funny joke it was, even if at my expense it was. Well, at least you can be a good sport about it, Wesley. He literally accepted your apology. I think that's the nicest thing Yoda said to anyone on our show. Love Wesley, I do. Strong with the Force he is. Well, that's great, man. I'm glad you like Wesley. We think he's okay. Best part of the show he is. A raise he deserves.
Double my pay.
I tell you what, man. If you double Wesley's pay, he's going to be making the same as I do. And he already makes the same as I do. So actually, I'm in the negatives on this show, if you think about it. But anyways, thanks, Master Yoda, for that word of the week. Let's end it here. Thank you guys for tuning in to Dork Wars, the podcast. If you guys didn't listen, we wouldn't do the show. So we love hearing your feedback on our social media. We got Facebook, X, Twitter, Twix. That's what we call it. Instagram. We're on YouTube. We got a good YouTube channel. We're hoping to get some YouTube videos out there, kind of separate from the podcasting thing, just like maybe theory videos or breaking news videos, things like that. So check out all that stuff. Check out dorkwarsthepodcast.com. I forgot to mention earlier, but Dork Wars the Podcast has a merchandising store. So you can go there and find the merchandise. Get you something good to wear from the Dork Wars shop. Before I end this, though, I would like to also say that Dork Wars the Podcast is part of the Subculture Podcast Network.
This show is part of the Subculture Podcast Network. For pop culture and entertainment podcasts, go to bio.link/subculturepodnetwork. Prepare to be entertained.
A lot of great podcasts there. Check all of them out. And then, of course, come back next week for some more Dork Wars. Who doesn't love a good Dork War? Thank you guys, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you for supporting Dork Wars, the podcast. You can check us out on facebook.com/Dork Wars, the podcast. And if you would like to join in on the discussion or maybe suggest topics for us to discuss, please do so by joining our Discord community or sending us an email at dorkwarspodcast@gmail.com.
This has been a
Star Wars is dead
production.